Hi, I'm John Twist of University Motors. Yesterday we were doing a compression check on this very car to find out that the number 3 cylinder was low. So the question is, why is it low? Is it low because there's a leak in the head gasket, which is hardly ever the case? A leak because the inlet valve is bad? The rule is the inlet valve is never bad. Because the exhaust valve is bad? That's always the problem, with exceptions. Or is it the piston rings that are bad? And before we took the engine apart, we wanted to be able to tell the customer what the problems might be. So here's how we find out. Danny's going to zoom in here on these rockers. We got these rockers really loose. We got them all the way loose, and the piston is at the bottom of its stroke. Now we're going to put our tube in here from the airline. This is the same one that we used to check the compression. There's a little valve in the end. We had to take him out. Now we'll plug in our airline here. And there's a certain amount of hissing that you can hear. And so we listen down the pushrod tubes. There's not much hissing going on there. We listen inside the carburetor. Oh my gosh, there's lots of hissing going on there. And that's very, very odd, but that's what's going on. Now we're going to go back to the exhaust. And we're going to listen in the exhaust. And I can hear a little bit of a hiss, and I can also feel the air coming out of the exhaust. Well, when we have the inside of the cylinder pressurized, as we've got about 120 pounds of air pressure, there should be no leaking through the inlet valve at all. It's very unusual to have this condition. And there should be no leaking through the exhaust valve, but there's always some sort of a hiss down the side of the pistons. Well, compared to what? Well, you've got 4 cylinders, so if you're trying to figure out what's going on before you take the engine apart and you want to pressurize the cylinders, then you want to listen to the hiss on all 4 of them. Okay, so it's a pretty straightforward task. In the end, if you're doing this at home, you've got to take the head off anyway to find out what's going on. And with some fluid, which we're going to show in our next video, you can tell whether the piston rings are bad or whether the valves are bad, or both. So that's the little lesson for today. A tube to listen, backing the rockers off, pushing pressure down inside the cylinders to find out why we've got bad compression. And again, in our next video, we'll be able to show you exactly what's going on and why. So until then, see you later.